Are you excited for cheese bannock?
I am very excited for cheese bannock.
I'm excited that I made you excited. Okay, we're going to make bannock. Not just bannock, but cheese bannock. So first of all, let's talk about bannock. Bannock was an Aboriginal bread made on a campfire. Originally, it was made with corn or sometimes cattail pollen, or sometimes both. Over the time, fur traders brought in flour and it adapted. I've had bannock fried in bacon fat, moose fat, which was my favorite, but I prefer to bake bannock because I don't need grease. I got my own storage here. And there are people in camp with diet restrictions that we have to watch how high fat we go. I pre-package my bannock in Ziploc bags so that I can use the Ziploc bag to mix it in. As you can see, hygienically, I don't want to be touching this bannock too much. I've been processing firewood and have sap on my hands and stuff. Inside this bag, I have a pre-measured amount of oil. That's in a separate vacuum sealed bag itself. Within the shot, I think, I don't know if the camera can tell me, but I have a reflector oven. These reflector ovens, we'll put a link below, are available at Canadian Outdoor Equipment in Toronto. Tim sells them there. I don't know Tim personally, but that's his name that owns the place. He has his own videos out on it. His video on this, unfortunately, does not show how to use them. It shows how they're made. So some tips on how to use a reflector oven. You need flame, not coals. It has to be down level with the flame. As you can see, we've moved the rocks out of the way and have it level with the flame. And you need as much heat flowing around that as possible. As it cooks, I will occasionally turn the pan that it'll be on sitting on that grate. So let's talk about bannock. My bannock recipe is basically a tea biscuit recipe. It is a old family secret that I'll share with you now. I call this my musical bannock because it's easy to remember by 1, 2, 3, 4, 3/4. The 1 is 1 teaspoon of salt. The 2 is 2 cups of flour. The 3 is 3 teaspoons of baking powder. The 4 is the 4 cups of oil, fat, butter, margarine, whatever you cut into it. And the 3/4 is the liquid. You can use milk, you can use water, you can use sour milk, you can use buttermilk, you can use whatever you'd like. You can use powdered milk at camp. We're just going to use water today. The oil or fat that we're using today is extra virgin olive oil because I prefer that because it's healthier. Once again, got my own calorie pouch here, don't need more. Okay, so we're going to begin by getting my little pre-vacuum sealed thing of oil out of here. And you're going to make a bit of a mess, so be sure that's for the mice later. They got to eat too. I don't like them around camp. I try my best not to leave a mess around camp, but they come. So this has been sitting in storage because I tend to make these in advance in the winter. And that way when it comes time to tripping, I just grab one of these bags out of my container of camping food at home. Within this bag, it goes to show how long it's been since I've made this. I forgot. I always carry a little bag of white powder. It is flour, about a 1/4 cup of extra flour. Sometimes you get carried away with your water by accident and you might need extra flour. Humidity plays a game in that and everything else. We're just going to set that aside there. I'm going to shake this up to make sure the salt and baking powder and everything else is mixed in. Recently I went on a canoe trip and didn't do this step, and we had a lovely cracker by the time we were done. It tasted great. While we're talking about that cracker, I should mention that I have variations of my bannock recipe. This is the plain bannock recipe. Very shortly, when I'm done mixing it, I'm going to be kneading in the cheese. It's going to be a cheese bannock to go with our supper tonight. Last night, I mixed in garlic powder, salt, parsley, and oregano, and we had Italian bannock. I also do a version of dessert bannock. Thank you. Shout out to Ray Mears for this one. Ray Mears inspired me. It is brown sugar, cinnamon, raisins, and when it's almost done baking, you drizzle rum over it. The dark rum is best, spiced rum is better. Again, thank you, Ray Mears. It was delicious. Unfortunately tonight, or fortunately tonight, depending on our mood, we're having
Cheese Bannock.
cheese bannock. I find this pre-shredded cheese, because the less you have to prep at camp, the better. You can enjoy fishing and other things. You just slowly mix it into the dry as part of the dry ingredients before you add your oil and water, and it kneads in better. But save a bit near the end just to knead in as well, so it's on top as well as through. And again, my hygienic hands. Okay, everyone, relax. It's cooking at 350 degrees, thereabouts. It's going to kill off most of the bug larvae that got on from the tree sap. Most. All this white powder's making my nose itch. I think that's mixed up good enough. We're going to add the oil. Set that down. My camp knife. I prefer a neck knife when I canoe trip because I've got a chubby belly, and when I sit in the canoe, this little roll here makes my knife either unbuckle or it stabs into it at the hilt. So I wear a neck knife when I canoe trip. It's handy at camp as well. Most of my family and relatives that canoe with me gasp when I return the knife because they think I'm going to Colombian necktie myself. I'm not. This goes in the garbage bag to pack out later. I'm going to add the oil. And the oil tends to stick inside these seal meal bags, so I just double check that it's all in there. And then we add some water. How much water? 3/4. Remember the musical Bannock. 1, 2, 3, 4. 3/4. These cups are from Sea to Summit. They're collapsible. They have measurements on the inside. I have glasses for a reason. We're going to add 3/4 of water to our Bannock. Now, keeping in mind we've added dry shredded cheese to that as well. So it's going to be a thick batter because there's more solid stuff in here than liquid. But the cheese will melt and give off grease as well. So this batter will be a little bit thicker than the normal batter. And oh dear, it is a little too liquidy. I'm going to use my knife and stir that in a bit better because the flour's all on the inside. I'm going to be careful not to stab my hand. I should be using a spoon or a wooden spatula if I was good at spoon carving. We're going to stir this up more. Sometimes you got to bite the bullet and get in there with your hands. Oh, it's so moist. It gets trapped in the corners and you got to shake that out. It's a little too dry. I want doughy. Now the temptation is just to use an Nalgene bottle and pour it in. Don't. Use another device because you're going to get a little too heavy-handed. A tablespoon at a time is all you need. A little bit goes a long way. Now it's really moist. Shout out to my Prime Minister on that one. You're doing a great job with COVID, by the way. Now I have here a little metal plate that it's an actual old-fashioned aluminum plate that scouters used to use in their mess kit. I have 2 of these in my kit all the time for specifically this, for making bannock on, but it also doubles as a plate for someone to eat off of later. It's, of course, fire resistant. It's aluminum, so it's going to withstand the heat. And I'm just going to dump this dough out, and then I'm going to work it into the corners and make an evenly sliced, spaced out bread. I'm going to knead that together a bit more. I do have the cheese if I need it. Well, I'm getting one less bite. I'll get that later and throw that in the fire so the mice don't crowd around camp. I don't want to feed the natural wildlife. They need to find food on their own. It's almost all kneaded together. You don't want to over knead it because then it gets too tough with the baking soda. Quick breads that use baking soda, try not to knead more than about 10 times. I've probably said the word knead more than 10 times. I don't know if that's going to affect the rising or not. Now there's a nice fleck of cheese in here, so I'm not going to add any more cheese. It's quite delicious looking. I'm going to fire that in there. I'm going to rub my hands over the fire and get rid of this. I'm going to pick up the stuff I dropped and burn it. And I'm going to tidy up and put the stuff in the garbage, and we'll come back to when it's baking and as I turn it. Here we are. We're going to place that in there. I'm going to get rid of this before I spread that around camp and attract a lot of mice and rodents. Or worse, bigger black furry rodents called the American black bear, which I have seen in numerous of my camping trips in Algonquin Park, and I don't care to see very often. That'll be another video of me explaining all that. I'm going to get this piece I dropped.
So this is our cheese bannock in the reflector oven. It's nice and golden brown, and listen carefully without too much background noise. It's got that hollow doneness sound to it. Here we go. A little hack, camp hack with the reflector oven. Before we had our tarp set up properly yesterday. Can you wait for cheese bannock? Don't burn your mouth. Yesterday in the downpour, our fire was at risk of going out, and we actually took the reflector oven and used it as a little tent over the fire and kept it going in a very, very heavy downpour. And it was quite the last minute camp hack that worked out well. Okay, so there is a camp superstition, old wives' tale. I think it has Aboriginal heritage. You're not supposed to take a knife to cut your bannock. You're supposed to break it. So we shall let this cool slightly, and the filming crew behind the cameras is drooling at the mouth, and we're gonna cut scene here and
Enjoy our bannock. Ow.
yeah, there's others have to eat. Back.
I would like also do a shout out to Cliff Jacobson. Cliff Jacobson is kind of the American version of Bill Mason. He's the one that has a book on outdoor cooking that really thoroughly explains how to use a reflector oven, and that's where I've learned how to use it. And since I bought this for about $80 Canadian, it is been a godsend at camp, and it folds up nicely into my pack, and it's a beautiful thing, and it's well worth the extra £1.5 of weight that it is. Thank you.